lease contract for certain types of resources that were available. What's the big thing in San Francisco these days? Zip cars. Just cars laying around. If you're a Zipcar member, you just go up to it and you start using it. So there's a lot of interesting things here that you can do just by changing the access rights to resources. And how do you know if they're authorized? More and more it's your smartphone. Your smartphone is how you're going to be getting into zip cars. Now this is a very interesting and complex chart, but it says most of the value co-creation happens through value propositions. And the value propositions have to make sense to 4 stakeholders. So if I'm designing a value proposition and I offer it to Professor Borelli, I say, I've got this great new thing, Professor Borelli, I think you should try it. What can Professor Borelli do? Well, the first thing he could do is say, Jim, that's a great idea, but I can do it myself better than you can do it. So thanks for the idea, and then he goes off and does self-service. So when you're designing a value proposition to a customer, you better make sure that you have better capabilities to do it than they do. He could also say, Jim, that's a great idea, but I think I would rather have Paolo offer it. So you got to make sure it's better than your competitors. You also have to make sure you can offer it, because I could come up with some great value propositions, but I got no way to deliver them. And finally, your value proposition better be legal, because I could create some great value propositions, but and you think this is a strange example. So many technology innovations that we've thought of at IBM. Better search. Well, it violates copyright law. And IBM said, no, we're not going to do that because it violates copyright law. That didn't stop other companies from doing that, but we wouldn't go there because it broke the law. Now those companies are successfully defending themselves in court, but that's a different story. So what we look at is we say, all of these different service system entities, I'm a customer, I'm a provider, I'm a semi-authority in my own home and in my group, and I'm a competitor to other systems. All service system entities are all 4 of these types of entities. All of their value propositions are trying to optimize quality, productivity, compliance, and sustainable innovation. Why sustainable innovation? Because if you don't sustain your innovation, your competitors kill you. This is what James March said in Exploitation and Exploration. If you're not innovating, you're dead. So anyway, we see some very interesting things we can think about for the design of value propositions. I'm going to wrap up because I've been going on too long. But I hope I've given you 2 things so far. 1, service science exists because we've got to get good at service innovation, and guess what? We're not. And it's very important that we get good at it. Number 2, what is service science? It's about better ways of doing value co-creation in these systems and networks. Now, number 3, why did I, after spending 7 years getting service science started in service research, why did I decide I want to work with universities? Well, it turns out if you're going to apply service science, the best system to apply it to, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years is the university. Universities are going to change dramatically. And I know that may sound strange, and not every university, like University of Roma, La Sapienza, may not change for another 100 years. But there are universities out there that are going to be looking very, very different in 5 years. Very different. And those universities are changing, and I can see the seeds in it right now. And so here's the series of quotes I like. Here's IBM, and you see these logos up here? That first one's instrumented. The world's getting more instrumented, more technology. It's getting more interconnected. We saw that on the global financial meltdown in a negative way. It's getting more intelligent. So let's build a smarter planet. if we're going to build a smarter planet, let's start by building smarter cities. And the best way to predict the future is to build it. The future is born in universities. The future is already here, it's just not well distributed. Cities learning from cities, think global and act local. So what do I mean by all of those quotes? Universities are like little cities. Universities have transportation systems, they have utility systems, they have housing, they have power plant, they have safety, they have operations and maintenance. I heard from Carla today that there's a professor in your architecture school that's thinking about creating a smarter electric grid for this university to make this university more green. I'm going to try it out first here at La Sapienza, but if it works, you know, Rome is next. There's a lot of universities doing that same thing. I just got an email this week from Ball State University in Indiana. And what they're doing is they're putting geothermal wells down because they're going to power their whole university with geothermal energy. And guess what? If it works for their university, their city is next. So more and more what's going to happen, the change you're going to see in universities is governments are going to decide, look, we've got to improve our city service systems, but we got to start small and see if it works with all of the systems interacting. So we're going to make these changes locally in a university, which is a system of systems, sub-microsystem. Every great city has a great university. If the experiments are done right, they'll be varied. This city will try it this way. This other city will try it a slightly different way. More and more funding is going to go to universities that coordinate an experiment in 10 or 12 universities with slight variations to see which one works the best. And the one that works the best is going to be what scales out to the city. So what we're seeing is this old challenge that increasingly citizens are demanding more urban services by type, quantity, and quality. But there's this new thing, new opportunity, which is cities are starting to partner with universities. Used to be the city didn't like the university because they didn't pay taxes. Now, the city sees the university as vital to creating the innovation that's going to help it improve its service systems. This is a change. And so what do you see? At Carnegie Mellon and MIT, a lot of the top universities in the US, where the action is in the research centers. MIT has an energy research center. It has a transportation research center. All of these research centers at MIT, CMU, you can even go to the CMU website that says research centers, where it all happens to solve real-world problems. That's the key. The universities are the key to getting better at service innovation for the cities that they're embedded in. There's a concept of urban serving research universities. Here it is right here. This is happening all over the US. The cities and the universities are starting to partner. And they're noticing all of these good effects when you can do this matching. So what we're doing at IBM, remember we work with 5,000 universities around the world. So now I see universities as the living lab for service science. If we can actually improve the quality of systems in universities in ways that they improve the quality of service in cities all around the world, that's a problem worthy of IBM. We have 400,000 employees worldwide. We're trying to create a smarter planet. We think maybe the best way to start to build this smarter planet is actually to partner more closely with universities on service science to create a smarter planet. Here are the systems. There's a white paper that just came out from IBM called The World Has $54 Trillion Systems of Systems. Remember those 13 types of systems? And here's the interesting thing. system inefficiency as a percentage of system's total economic value, improvement potential as a percentage of inefficiency.